Fox Sports' Colin Cowherd has officially predicted the Washington Commanders to win the NFC East in 2024. Today, I'm going to be breaking down his predictions for this football team next season. I'm going to tell you whether or not I think those are realistic expectations, and then I'll tell you my opinion on if the Commanders will win the 2024 NFC East division crown. Before I get into all of today's goodness here on the Commanders Report, go ahead and click that thumbs up icon for me if you haven't already. It really does help us win the NFC East, all right? So you don't want to be that guy that doesn't like this video and then all of a sudden we're last place in this division again, all right? So you want to click that thumbs up icon, help out the channel, and then help this team win the division in 2024. So this is what Colin Cowherd had to say about the Washington Commanders winning this division in 2024. Why Commanders? $75 million in cap space. Love Dan Quinn and Kliff Kingsbury as a staff. I think the Eagles and Cowboys, because of age and drama, are vulnerable. I think the Commanders, we have a surprise team every year in the league. I think they get Drake Maye. I think he's like Justin Herbert as a comp, played in a simple college offense, and will be better than people think immediately. Herbert was, CJ Stroud was, and I think Drake Maye is that guy this year. And you know what, guys? Call me crazy if you want, but I don't hate this prediction from Colin Cowherd. I actually think there is a roadmap for Dan Quinn in his first year as the head coach here in the nation's capital to get this team not only to the playoffs, but to the division crown. So coming up here on the Commanders Report, I got 5 things that the Commanders need to do next year if they're going to win the East in 2024. But before I reveal those 5 things, go ahead and check out our friends at PrizePicks right now. When you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. Football season is officially over, but the fun on PrizePicks never stops, as you can enhance your viewing experience for March Madness, NBA basketball, or even NASCAR with our friends at PrizePicks, which is a skill-based, real money, daily fantasy sports game. And if you're wondering how that works, here's how you play. Pick 2 to 6 players, and if they'll go for more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can even up to 25 times your money on any entry. And right now, you're looking at one of their NASCAR projections right now. We got Tyler Riddick, and we've got Bubba Wallace with more fantasy points. I mean, I didn't even know that you could play fantasy NASCAR, but now I do. My dad and my mom actually play it quite a bit. Once I brought up the thing to them, apparently they've been in a league for years, and I never knew about it. So if you want to check it out now on PrizePicks, you can do that. Check it out at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. At PrizePicks, you aren't competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, that are just looking to take advantage of you. With PrizePicks, it takes less than 60 seconds to make your picks. So get started right now. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. That's code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. So the first thing that I think the Washington Commanders need to do to win the NFC East next year is they have to draft Drake Maye over Jayden Daniels. Now, I know a lot of you out there right now are saying, oh my gosh, Jack, what are you saying? I want Jayden Daniels to be the next quarterback of the Washington Commanders. And listen, if they draft Daniels, I think that'd be fine. Okay, if you're really going to take your time with the rebuild and you don't want to win the East next year, I think Jayden Daniels is kind of more of a raw prospect that could turn into something truly special down the line. But I think Drake Maye is the type of guy that's able to come into the league year one and really become a playoff caliber of quarterback, all right? So I break down both of their games in my extensive scouting reports on both of these top quarterback prospects. I give my pros and my cons and my pro comps for each of Drake Maye and Jayden Daniels, and I tell you why I think the Commanders should take Drake Maye, number 2 overall, over Jayden Daniels. And the gist of what I say in that video and the reasoning why I'm going with Drake Maye is I think he's the more NFL-ready prospect that's ready to have success in this league right away, and I think he's got the higher floor compared to Jayden Daniels, who I think has a little bit more bust potential as an NFL prospect. All right, and you know what? The second part to this, you have to draft Maye, but then Maye has to deliver, and he has to be in immediate success in this league. It doesn't have to be like Justin Herbert was or CJ Stroud, but it needs to be in that same vein. He needs to be in the conversation for Offensive Rookie of the Year in Kliff Kingsbury's kind of spread offense, heavy shotgun with Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson and all these weapons that he's going to have. He's going to have a really, really good year here in Washington in his rookie season if he wants to win this division that has the Cowboys, that has Philadelphia. Who knows what quarterback the Giants are going to get and how good that team is going to be. So Maye has to be an NFL good quarterback in this league if the Commanders are going to win this division in 2024. The other thing that definitely needs to happen is this defense needs to turn it around with Dan Quinn and new defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr. calling the shots on the defensive side of the ball. You've got some nice pieces right now. Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne and Emmanuel Forbes, I think, is a good fit for this offense that they're going to be bringing in. Cam Curl, Derek Forrest, they got some nice pieces. But they definitely need to make the right calls in terms of who they're going to bring in free agency, all these different things. Which edge rushers are they going to have? Are they going to bring back Kendall Fuller? And if not, who are you bringing in? They've got a bunch of questions to answer in the offseason, and then they have to build chemistry quickly and go out and play good football, or at least better football than they did last year. Because holy crap, guys, it couldn't have gotten much worse than it was in 2023. Dead last in points per game. Dead last in yards per game. All right, 31st in yards per play. The only team with a lower or with a higher yards per play on defense was the Cincinnati Bengals. All right, third down defense and red zone percentage a little bit better, but still not great. And then takeaways, that needs to go up, and I expect it will with Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. Being among the best in the business in terms of getting defenses to turn the football over. Emmanuel Forbes is a ball hawk. I'm really excited to see what he looks like in this aggressive style of defense. And speaking of Dan Quinn here, he needs to be the real deal. Okay, he needs to be somebody that can come in and change a culture year one and get a team ready to make a playoff run right away. And because he's a former head coach, because he's one of the most respected leaders in the National Football League, and because he's put together really an elite staff here in Washington, I feel really, really confident that Dan Quinn is that guy. And absolutely, like if they hit on Drake Maye, if they can get the right players on the defensive side of the ball with all the cap space and all the draft picks that they have this year, absolutely, this football team can be a playoff contender and potentially even win this division, especially if both Dallas and Philadelphia take a step back, which, guys, is 100% possible. We saw how Philly completely deteriorated towards the end of the season last year. They still have the head coach responsible for that collapse. Is it impossible that this Philly team just doesn't look very good and the locker room continues to collapse heading into 2024? Absolutely, that's a possibility. And then with Dallas, they just lost Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr., two of some of their most bright defensive minds. All right, so that's not going to be good for them. They're bringing in Mike Zimmer, and I have some respect for Zim and all these different things, but we know, man, Dallas is going to be a team that I think regresses a little bit in 2024. I think Philly has the potential to really collapse next season, and Washington's going to be on the up and up with a very bright future ahead, with a new quarterback, with a bunch of new players coming in free agency, with a bunch of young players coming in via the draft, and a new head coach that I really believe in, guys. I think Dan Quinn is really going to knock this out of the park, and I really don't think it's crazy to think all of the things that we talked about today actually end up happening. We've talked about on the show why Drake Maye is an NFL-ready prospect, and I think if he comes in here, especially with an offense that he would feel comfortable with this kind of air raidy type system with Kliff Kingsbury, I could totally see that offense making it come together with all the cap space that they have. I could totally see them getting the right pieces on defense to finally make this a good unit defensively. And then I think Dan Quinn has the leadership ability to really cultivate a winning culture in year one, especially with the staff that he has assembled. So absolutely, I think the Commanders, if there's any team that's going to go from really bad in 2023 to pretty darn good in 2024, I think the Commanders are one of the prime candidates to do it, and I can't wait to see it unfold here over the next 12 months. Now predict it for me down there in the comments section. Will the Washington Commanders win the NFC East in 2024? Give me a yes or give me a no. Let me know how you're feeling about the Commanders' prospects heading into next season. That'll be it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me today. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button because we got videos on here every single day breaking down the Washington Commanders with free agency coming right up. This is going to be one of the biggest free agency periods in this franchise's history. They're gearing up for a spending spree. We're going to have you covered with all the latest rumors surrounding that. And then, of course, draft coverage every single week, breaking it all down before the big day in Detroit. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button for the most extensive offseason coverage surrounding the Washington Commanders right here on YouTube.